The Kia EV3, the kind of a potential hot hatch EV that slots underneath the EV6, is officially coming to America. We're going to break it down on what to expect from this small little subcompact crossover hatchback thing. We'll also break down the differences between the EV3 concept and the production model, and you're going to be surprised. Let's get into it. Kia has not officially given us an on-sale date, but a placeholder we can probably say end of 2025 at the earliest. 2026 sometime is most likely. They also have a WLTP cycle range. So out of the 81.4 kilowatt hour battery, they're expecting 600 kilometers. If you translate that to miles and on our cycle, not the WLTP, the EPA, I'm expecting around 326 miles or so from this cute little hatchback. They will also be introducing a new iPedal system. Their one pedal driving. Hopefully it's a little bit better than the outgoing. Not that the outgoing is bad, still one of the best in the industry. Their one pedal driving with the eGMP platform from Hyundai and Kia. It's just that I think Volvo and Polestar's one pedal driving is done a little bit better. So I'm excited to see what this iPedal 3.0 is about. You can charge this EV3 in 10 to 80% in just 31 minutes, and 0 to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour is about 7.5 seconds. Now that's on a front wheel drive model. We don't have horsepower numbers, but we also know there will be an all-wheel drive model. There is a GT line, and I wouldn't be surprised if you can get dual motor outside of the GT line. All right, with that being said, let's get into the images, and we're going to break pre-production, aka concept, versus the official production model here. Starting with the side profile, my goodness, Kia has kept this vehicle looking like a concept car, and that's going to bode well for them. What are the differences? Well, I think the production model is actually a hair longer. Notice how the wheel arch is here cut into the door a little bit more. All right. So, and also this line that's very flat, this body line from the door goes forward pretty much on the same level, then tapers off on the hood. It rises just a little bit here on the production model. But the roofline angle seems to be very similar. We have the shark fin antenna here with the official on the production model. We have door handles. So on the pre-production or the concept, no door handles. Also, the mirror is much more production ready. It's fatter, it's chunkier. And the door handles up here in the C-pillar area like it is on the Prius, for example, or the CHR. And I think that the new K4 hatchback and maybe even K4 non-hatchback has the door handle tucked up in the C-pillar as well. The wheel arches and the trim at the bottom of the vehicle were kind of like this epoxy recycled plastic look that we see on other models. I think we see the Volvo EX30 kind of use that in certain areas of the vehicle. Here we're looking at the GT line, and the GT line has this glossy black finish. If we look at the standard EV3, this guy, it does not have, it's kind of a matte finish, like most crossovers. Also, you see the parking sensor here, so you have parking sensors on this. Forgot to mention pricing. We're hearing $30,000 to $50,000. The cheaper, the better right now. But honestly, it all comes down to leasing. If you can lease this thing for $300 a month, it's a good deal. That's kind of like the going rate for EVs right now, at least here in the United States. $300 a month. Little to no money down, and you're going to have yourself a great city car. When this launches in the United States, it will have NACS charging, or the North American Charging Standard, so it'll be able to plug into Tesla superchargers no problem. Let's go ahead and look at the front and compare to the front of the production model here. Now we're looking at the standard EV3. There is the GT line, which has a different front bumper, but this looks most like the concept for sure. I think it looks great. Honestly, I think this actually looks better. Look at these headlights. How cool is that? Those headlights, what do we have? 12 different little LED headlights that combine to bring light to the road. That's super cool. I don't really see anyone doing that. Typically, it's just one big LED or two LED lights here, maybe 3 or 4 if you want to really push it. I mean, I'm trying to think, in the Genesis lineup, they have a bunch. So maybe they're taking it from the Genesis lineup with all these multiple LED little lights there. And hey, 10 years from now, if one of them burns out, hopefully it doesn't affect the whole batch here. And so you're still running on, let's say, 11 of the 12. All right. The daytime running lights aren't quite as long here. Notice how they push this all the way to where the hood curves up on the Concept. It's much shortened here, but honestly, I don't think it looks worse. In fact, I think it looks better with the inclusion of those 12 LEDs on each side. So they made it look better and cleaner on the front. Let's compare the GT line on the front. The GT line looks pretty good as well. Honestly, it looks a little bit like the refreshed EV6 front end. And that's a good thing because it looks pretty great. And also the Kia logo is smashed flat onto the front of the vehicle, not like this logo that sticks out. But that's all the new Kia logos. They're not like that old circular badge anymore. It looks really premium here. All right, we also on this GT line, I don't think I saw this on the base model, but the base model has it. So look, we have roof rails here. This thing would look really cool and cute with some roof racks across the top. There was no roof rail system on the Concept. But yeah, the window line, of course, we have thicker bezels here for the production model. Notice how angular these windows are. Reminds me a little bit of, was it the Defender that I drove recently that had really blocky windows like this? The wheels are amazing. So the wheels are 19-inch wheels, and they are different depending on the GT line or the standard model. Now, don't be surprised, in the United States, there will be base models. So I already mentioned an 81.4 kilowatt hour battery. Don't be surprised for the cheaper models, the $30,000 model, that they make it, I don't know, down to about 220 miles of range would be just a guess, and stone's throw. But you would also have much smaller wheels. So these are 19s. You'd probably see 17-inch wheels on the base model of this EV3. All right, we have the GT line pulled up down below. The rear windshield wiper, it must be tucked under or not there at all. I would assume it's tucked under, which is a very premium thing. You typically don't see that unless you're in luxury vehicles, and even then it's hit or miss. So with no windshield wiper on the back, Kia has a very premium looking vehicle from the rear. The back of the vehicle looks just so similar to the Concept here. You have the GT line badge here, EV3 on the left. Yeah, here's the back end of the non-GT model. I think I like the non-GT better, but I think they're both gorgeous looking little hatchbacks. I don't even know what to call cars anymore. They cross over so many different segments. You can call it a small SUV. You can call it a crossover. You can call it a subcompact crossover. You can call it a lifted hatchback. Whatever it is, it's just the EV3 to make things simple here. To me, it's a hatchback. We're also not going to have these cool hood scoop ornamentations here on the production model. As you see here, it's just a normal hood, nothing crazy going on. All right, the interior, let's take a look, because while there are some similarities, it looks quite a bit different with materials, but the placement of certain things are very similar. So up top is still the Concept. We have a more stylized single LED panel here. Down below, this is actually 3 screens, a 12-inch screen, a 12-inch screen, and then a 5-inch screen, always up for climate control. Kia, that's brilliant. But what is it going to look like if you get a cheaper model? A $30,000 model, for example. Is it still going to be this massive screen across the dash? I don't know. Also, they've incorporated just more usable buttons in here. Fan speed, temperature control, that sort of thing, a volume knob, where here it's just an empty bar. It's like placeholder. Also, we have what's very standard with Hyundai and Kia, these shortcut buttons, which are nice to have. Volume scroll wheel. It's not as good as like an actual volume knob. I don't know why Kia does that. Hyundai does that, and even Genesis does that. But a volume knob is always better than a scroll wheel. But a scroll wheel is still better than touch capacitive volume thing. All right, so not ideal, but not the worst thing in the world either. We don't have a look at the pedals, but pretty standard affair for a Kia here. And if we look at the seats, well, of course, they're going to be more like the EV9 compared to this concept. You're not going to have all these fancy fabrics in here, but it looks like on the top of the door, on the top of the dash, we have some soft touch fabric, which is nice to see. All right, on the doors, notice on the concept, they just had a button here. That was probably to open and close the door. They've converted that now to house the buttons for heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. And I don't know what this is. This might be memory seat here. This might be memory 1, memory 2, for example. And then we just have a standard door handle here. This looks like Harman Kardon sound system as well, but I don't know if I saw that in the press release. Steering wheel. Well, here we go. I think I'm going to get out of the concept at this point in time because I want to compare the interior of the GT line versus the interior of the standard EV6. And also, while we have an image of the back seat here on the pre-production, the concept, we don't have an image of the back seat on the production, strangely. All right, so let's pull up the interior here on the sport model. So down below, I'm pretty sure this is the standard EV6, and above this is the GT line. All right, we have more black accents on the GT line. We're down here. We have some nice orange accents. I love to have a little color, a little splash, muted colors, which is great. Look at the steering wheels. This is where these two are quite a bit different. On the drive, the placement of the drive mode here, on the 3-spoke steering wheel, which is, I'm almost 100% positive this is the GT line, where this 2-spoke is more the relaxed standard model, where the drive mode is over here. But the buttons, even though they're slightly different shaped, it's the same layout, which I love this layout. You have a volume scroll wheel here. You interact with the screen. You have the paddle shifters here for regen. It's a really nice setup overall, and I'm really liking what Kia's done here. Just a small splash of ambient lighting across the dash, on the doors as well, and I'm almost positive that's going to be customizable. But I like how it's a gold color here, this ambient lighting, to accent this kind of gold here at the bottom, gold here on the dash, gold on the vents, and then kind of like this gold here to accent the center console area. But all done with the comparisons, you can see this is a table. I believe there's something here that is adjustable. I think this slides in and out, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of cool. Auto brake hold, 360 camera, downhill control, as well as parking sensors are going to be here. All this additional storage. If you're not like an orange sherbet gold like color fan, this is not the vehicle for you. Go get the GT line, but I'm really digging it. I like these funky colors. And the collapsible cup holders down here as well. Let's see, what else do I have for pictures? I think that might have done it. I think that's everything here for the Kia EV3. This reminds me of Kia's version of the Volvo EX30, but honestly, the interior here is so much better than that Volvo because I have actual interactions with climate control, actual interactions with multiple screens. Like the EX30 from Volvo is just one center screen here. You don't even have an MID behind the steering wheel. Love all the buttons, all the functionality spread throughout the cabin. And also I like everything about the old school charm of this vehicle. It is an EV, it is futuristic, but they're keeping all those important touch points that people like to have. Physical climate control, physical drive select, tons of buttons and interaction here on the steering wheel. Heated and ventilated seats off to the side, heated steering wheel, that's perfectly fine, easy to get to. And traditional screens centrally located, a dedicated screen for climate control, as well as an MID back here for the driver. I don't expect a head-up display, but now that I'm looking at this, how this is cut out here, there could be a head-up display for this model as well, which would be pretty freaking cool. So what do you guys think of the Kia EV3? Coming in 2026 or so. The EV market right now here in the United States is in a lull. It's kind of flatlined. But if we have more affordable models that are very versatile, like this EV3 from Kia, They could sell a lot. And speaking of a lot, I think they plan on selling 70 to 80,000 of these per year in the United States once it's fully out there, probably after the second or third year of it being on the market. Currently on the United States market, I mean, there's just not a lot of EVs that sell that volume. The Ioniq 5 only about 34,000, ID4 at 38,000, Mustang Mach-E at 40,000, Rivian's at 42,000, but that's gone down this year. The Bolt, well, that's not even available anymore. Think of this as a better Bolt, but from the Korean automakers where it charges faster, it'll have NACS charging, it'll be faster, it'll be more practical, it'll have optional all-wheel drive. I think the Bolt was only front-wheel drive. The thing with the Bolt, though, is just so damn cheap. So if we can get this EV3 in certain configurations to compete with the next-gen Bolt, it's going to be quite exciting. 70 to 80,000 units. Do you think that this package that we have with the EV3, do you think it's a good enough package so far from what we've seen to sell that many units and to compete in the EV market here in the United States? I think it's an amazing design. I would love to have one if the price is right. It all comes down to lease price, right? These will be built in Korea, more than likely imported into the United States, at least initially, as Kia probably weighs like, is it worth building it here stateside at their new EV plant down, I think it's in Georgia. Anyways, I got to stop myself from rambling. I'll see you guys down below. Smash the like button if you haven't. I would appreciate that. And I will be driving the EV9, putting it through the ringer with the family, probably sometime this summer. I got my name on it through the press fleet, so stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.